Hello, and welcome back to Myths for Slumber. Tonight, we leave the shores of Greece behind and let the currents of time carry us to a land of golden sand and sacred rivers. A land where the gods walked among mortals and where magic was as real as the sun that warmed the earth. We travel to ancient Egypt. But before our journey begins, let me ask you a question. How far would you travel for someone you love? Would you cross a river, a desert? Would you search the corners of the world for them? Tonight's story is about a love so powerful it defied death itself. A devotion so absolute it pieced a broken God back together, and in doing so, created the promise of eternity for all who came after. This is the story of a king betrayed and the queen who refused to let him be forgotten. This is the legend of Isis and Osiris. So, quiet your mind. Let the world outside fade into a distant whisper, and journey with us now to the dawn of time on the banks of the sacred river Nile. Imagine a time before time. Egypt in its first golden age. This is not the Egypt of sand-swept ruins, but a living, breathing paradise. The Nile River flows, not with water, but with life itself, its currents a deep, tranquil blue under an endless turquoise sky. On its banks, the land is a carpet of impossible green. Fields of golden wheat and barley sway in a gentle, warm breeze, so tall and thick you could lose yourself in them. There is no hunger here, no disease, no conflict. The people of this perfect land learned the arts of civilization not through struggle, but through the gentle guidance of their king. His name is Osiris, the good god. He is not a king of war and conquest. He is a king of peace and plenty. He is tall and serene, his skin the color of the fertile earth he commands. He walks among his people, teaching them how to read the stars, how to plant the grain, how to live in harmony with the rhythm of the river. His voice is calm, and his laws are just. Under his rule, Egypt is a reflection of heaven, and by his side, always, is his queen and sister, Isis. She is the goddess of wisdom, of magic, and of motherhood. If Osiris is the body of the kingdom, she is its heart and soul. Her knowledge is as deep as the Nile itself, and her magic is woven into the fabric of the world. She is the protector, the nurturer, the one who knows the secret names of the gods. Her love for Osiris is the foundation upon which this perfect world is built. But in every perfect story, a shadow waits. Osiris has a brother, Set. He is the lord of the Red Land, the harsh, barren desert that borders the fertile valley. He is the god of chaos, of storms, and of a burning, silent jealousy. While Osiris nurtures life, Set represents the endless, sterile sand. He watches the green kingdom of his brother, and a cold darkness grows in his heart. And with them is the fourth sibling, Nephthys, the wife of Set. Her heart is gentle, and though she is bound to the Lord of the desert, her loyalty lies with the green valley, with the harmony of Isis and Osiris.
She is a quiet observer, a witness to the beauty and to the tragedy that is about to unfold. For in a world this perfect, even a single crack in its foundation can bring it all to ruin. And Set has begun to search for that crack.
But a paradise this perfect casts a long shadow, and in that shadow walks Set. He walks the barren edges of the kingdom, where the green fields meet the endless burning sands of his own domain. He feels the hot desert wind on his face, a wind that carries nothing but grit and silence. He looks back at the vibrant life of the Nile Valley, at the laughter of the people, at the golden abundance of his brother's world, and a cold, hard knot of jealousy tightens in his soul. He is chaos. Osiris is order. He is sterility. Osiris is life. In his mind, the world is a scale that has been tipped too far in his brother's favor, and he decides, in the quiet furnace of his heart, that he will be the one to balance it. His plan is not of open war. Set is a god of cunning, of schemes born in darkness. His weapon will not be a sword, but a secret. One evening during a festival, he watches Osiris from afar. He studies his brother's form, the breadth of his shoulders, the length of his limbs, the proud, serene way he carries himself. He commits every measurement to his memory. Then, in the dead of night, he summons his most skilled artisans, craftsmen who work not with stone, but with shadow and whispers. He gives him his secret measurements. He commands them to build a chest. Not just any chest. It must be the most beautiful object ever created. They work for months in secret. They take the finest cedar wood from the mountains of Lebanon, wood that smells of ancient forests and sacred resin. They inlay it with gleaming ebony from the south and ivory that is as white as the moon. They trace intricate patterns across its surface with veins of pure, shimmering gold and lapis lazuli, the color of the night sky itself. It is a masterpiece, a work of art fit for a god. But it is also a trap. It is built to one and only one measurement. It is built to be the perfect, final resting place for Osiris. The night of the great feast arrives. The halls of the palace are filled with the gentle light of 1,000 oil lamps. The air is thick with the scent of lotus blossoms and spiced wine. The gods and nobles of Egypt are gathered, their voices a low, pleasant murmur. Osiris presides over the celebration, his benevolent smile warming the entire room. Isis is beside him, her presence a picture of grace and tranquility. Then, at the height of the festivities, Set makes his grand entrance. He does not come with anger, but with a wide, generous smile. Behind him, his servants carry the magnificent chest, which gleams and sparkles under the lamplight, drawing gasps of admiration from all who see it. "A gift," Set proclaims, his voice booming with false friendship. "A treasure for this glorious evening. I will give this chest to whomever fits inside it most perfectly." The guests laugh, thinking it a clever party game. One by one they try. A burly general finds it too narrow. A slender nobleman finds it too short. Each one fails, and with each failure the sense of fun and anticipation grows. Finally, Set turns to his brother. "Osiris, my king, you have not yet tried. Surely it must be meant for you." Osiris, suspecting nothing, smiles back at his brother. He sees not the trap, but the beauty of the chest and the playful spirit of the evening. In an act of pure, trusting innocence, he steps forward and lies down inside the ornate box. It is a perfect fit. Before he can speak, before he can move, the lid is slammed shut. The sound echoes through the hall like a clap of thunder. 72 of Set's co-conspirators rush forward, hammering the lid shut with long, wicked nails. The laughter in the room dies, replaced by a stunned, horrified silence. The last thing Osiris hears is not the cries of his friends, but the dull, rhythmic hammering, and then the sudden, absolute silence of the darkness within. Set and his followers carry the sealed chest from the hall. They carry it through the silent palace, out into the cool night air, to the banks of the sacred Nile. There, under the cold, unblinking eyes of the stars, they heave the heavy box into the dark, flowing water. It does not sink immediately. For a moment it floats, a magnificent golden coffin, turning slowly in the current, a solitary funeral boat on a journey with no destination. Then the river takes it, pulling it away from the shore, carrying the living heart of Egypt out towards the vast, dark emptiness of the Great Sea.
When the news of her husband's fate reached Isis, the world stopped. The music of the feast turned to ash in the air. The joyous light in her eyes was extinguished, replaced by the deep, starless night of grief. But she did not scream, she did not rail against the heavens. Her sorrow was too deep for sound. Instead, she performed the ancient rites of mourning. She took a pair of shears, and with a steady hand, she cut her long, shimmering black hair, letting it fall to the palace floor like a silken shroud. She tore her royal white linens and dressed herself in the simple, rough robes of a grieving widow. She was no longer a queen, she was a pilgrim, a wanderer with a single, all-consuming purpose: to find the body of her beloved. She left the palace, her home of light and love, and stepped out into a world that now seemed gray and meaningless without him. She did not know where to begin. The Nile was vast, and the Great Sea was endless, so she simply began to walk. She followed the banks of the river, her bare feet pressing into the cool mud. She asked the river reeds if they had seen him pass, and they rustled with a sound like a sad whisper. She asked the children playing by the water's edge, their eyes wide with confusion at the sight of their grieving queen. She walked for days that turned into weeks. The sun beat down upon her, and the cold night winds offered no comfort. She listened not for news of a king, but for whispers of a beautiful, ornate chest washed ashore somewhere, anywhere. Her journey was a walking meditation, a testament to a love that refused to accept absence. With every step, she whispered his name, Osiris, Osiris, a soft, rhythmic chant that became the beat of her own aching heart. Her journey took her beyond the borders of Egypt. The whispers she followed, carried on the tongues of sailors and merchants, led her across the Great Sea to the Phoenician coast, to the ancient port city of Byblos. She arrived not as a goddess, but as a stranger, her face veiled, her grief a silent companion. She sat by the city's well, the place where travelers and servants gathered, and she simply waited, listening. Meanwhile, the chest containing Osiris had washed ashore near Byblos, and from the spot where it landed, a magnificent tamarisk tree had sprung up, growing with supernatural speed and beauty. The tree grew around the chest, encasing the god's body within its sacred wood. The king of Byblos, awestruck by this wondrous tree, had it cut down and brought to his palace, unaware of the divine secret it held. He had it fashioned into a great central pillar to support the roof of his grand hall. And so Osiris, the king of Egypt, became a silent, hidden pillar in a foreign land. But Isis, with her divine senses, felt his presence. She knew he was close. Her magic and her grief drew her to the palace. The queen of Byblos, noticing the strange, sad but noble air of this foreign woman, invited her into the palace and made her the nursemaid to the infant prince. Isis cared for the child, but her true purpose was to remain close to the pillar. Each night, in secret, she would perform her magic. She would transform into a swallow, circling the great pillar, her bird-like cries filled with an unearthly sorrow. She grew fond of the mortal child and decided to grant him the gift of immortality. She would place him in the sacred, purifying flames of the hearth each night. But one night, the queen, his mother, saw this terrifying ritual and screamed in fear, breaking the spell forever. Forced to reveal her true identity, Isis stood before the royal court in all her divine glory. She told them of her tragic story and of the sacred treasure hidden within the tamarisk pillar. Awestruck and humbled, the king ordered the pillar to be carefully cut open.
The king gave the sacred pillar to Isis. She carefully extracted the sealed chest, her hands trembling as she finally touched the wood that held her beloved. She left the palace of Byblos, carrying her precious cargo. She boarded a small boat and set sail back across the great sea, back towards the shores of her homeland. Imagine her on that long journey home, alone on the water, under a canopy of stars. The only sound is the gentle lapping of waves against the hull of the boat and the soft creak of the wood. She does not sleep. She sits with the chest, her hand resting upon it, as if she could warm the cold wood with the heat of her own devotion. She whispers to him, telling him of her journey, of her sorrow, of her unbreakable promise to make him whole again. After a long and solitary voyage, she finally reached the marshlands of the Nile Delta, a secret, secluded place hidden by towering papyrus reeds that rustled like whispers in the night wind.
Here she knew she would be safe from the watchful eyes of Set. Under the light of a silver moon, she opened the lid of the chest, and for the first time since that terrible night, she looked upon the face of Osiris. He was perfectly preserved, as if he were only sleeping. She threw her body over his, and her cries of love and grief, held back for so long, finally echoed through the silent marshes.
But the quiet reunion of Isis and Osiris was not destined to last. Even in the secluded marshes of the delta, the darkness finds a way. One night, Set, the god of chaos, was hunting in the desert under the cold, unforgiving light of the full moon. He pursued a wild boar across the sands, his spear ready. The hunt led him to the edge of the marshlands, and there, hidden among the reeds, his sharp eyes caught the glint of gold. He approached silently, his footsteps muffled by the soft earth, and he saw it, the magnificent chest he had cast into the river, and lying beside it, sleeping from her long and sorrowful journey, was Isis, and within the open chest lay the body of his brother, whole and peaceful. A rage unlike any he had known before consumed him. It was the rage of a plan undone, of a victory stolen. It was the chaotic fury of the desert storm. He knew that as long as Osiris's body remained whole, Isis, with her powerful magic, might find a way to bring him back. To truly kill a god, you must not just end his life, you must erase his form. You must scatter his memory to the winds. And so, in a fit of brutal, calculated fury, Set fell upon his brother's sleeping form. He tore the body from the chest, and with his divine strength, he ripped it into 14 pieces. He took the pieces and scattered them across the length and breadth of the land of Egypt. He threw one piece into the river at a distant southern cataract. Another he hid in the sands of the western desert. A third he dropped in the bustling heart of a northern city. Each piece was a seed of chaos, a piece of order cast into the wilderness. He was not just dismembering a body, he was dismembering a kingdom, dismembering a memory. He wanted to ensure that Osiris would never be made whole again, that he would be forgotten, an incomplete story, scattered forever. When Isis awoke to the scene of desecration, her grief was beyond measure. It was a wound deeper than any she had known. Her hope, so briefly rekindled, was now scattered across the land, just as the body of her husband had been. For a moment, she fell into despair. The task seemed impossible. How could she find every piece of her beloved in a land so vast? It was then that her sister, Nephthys, came to her side. Leaving her chaotic husband, Set, she joined Isis in her sorrow and gave her the strength to begin again. Together, the two goddesses began a second, more arduous and more sacred search. This was no longer a journey of discovery, it was a pilgrimage of reconstruction. They built a small skiff from papyrus reeds and set out upon the Nile, their divine senses guiding them. They let the current take them where it would, their eyes scanning the riverbanks, the islands, the shores. The journey was long and methodical. Their sorrow was a quiet, shared silence between them.
Near the city of Dendera, they found his left leg. Isis lifted it from the water, her hands gentle. She wrapped it in clean linen, consecrated the ground, and built a small shrine to mark the spot. The first piece had been found. Further south, near Abydos, they found his head. She held it in her arms, her tears falling upon his serene, sleeping face. She wrapped it in the finest linen, anointed it with sacred oils, and built a grander shrine. This place, she declared, would be sacred forever. And so the search continued, a slow, sacred rhythm of finding and mourning and consecrating. They found an arm in the marshes of the delta, and they built a shrine. They found his heart near the city of Athribis, and they built a shrine. They found a piece in the eastern desert, and they built a shrine. Each location where a piece was found became a holy place, a point of connection between the mortal world and the scattered God. Egypt itself was becoming a map of their love and their sorrow, a sacred landscape defined by her devotion. 13 pieces they found, one by one, a journey of impossible patience, of a love that was literally putting the world back together, one piece at a time.
13 pieces. 13 fragments of a god and a kingdom and a perfect love. Isis and Nephthys brought the sacred relics to a hidden, secluded island in the Nile, a place shrouded in mist and ancient magic. Here, under the watchful eyes of the stars, the great work would begin. They laid the pieces upon a stone altar, arranging them with infinite care, recreating the form of the sleeping king. The air grew still. The wind ceased its whispering. The world itself seemed to be holding its breath. Isis, the great magician, knelt beside him. She was no longer a grieving wife. She was a force of creation. She raised her hands, and the air around her began to hum with a power as old as time itself. She began to chant. Her voice was not loud, but it resonated with the energy of the earth and the river. She spoke the secret names of the gods, words of power that could unravel the fabric of reality. She spoke of the sacred bond between the sun and the moon, between the land and the sky. As she spoke, she began to weave the pieces back together, not with thread, but with magic. With strands of pure light, she mended the broken flesh. With her own tears, she purified the wounds. She breathed upon his cold lips, and her breath was the warm, life-giving wind of the south.
Then she summoned the final piece of the ritual, the one piece of his body that had been lost forever to the river. She recreated from gold and enchanted clay, a symbol not of what was lost, but of what could be remade through sheer force of will. Now the body was whole again, perfect, complete, lying still upon the altar, bathed in the soft, magical glow of her incantations. But it was still just a body. It lacked the vital spark, the breath of life. Isis knew what she must do. She called upon the deepest magic of her being, the magic of transformation. She unfurled her great, magnificent wings, wings of a kite falcon, shimmering with colors of lapis lazuli and gold. She rose into the air above him, a divine creature of breathtaking beauty, and she began to beat her wings, slowly, rhythmically. The movement was not to fly, but to create a wind,
a sacred breeze. With each downstroke of her wings, she fanned the breath of life back into his stilled lungs. Imagine that sound, the soft, rhythmic whoosh of divine wings in the silent night. Whoosh, a whisper of hope. Whoosh, a promise of return. Whoosh, the first faint stirring of a heart that had been silent for an eternity. She beat her wings for what seemed like a lifetime, until at last the chest of Osiris rose with a single slow, shuddering breath. His eyes did not open, but life had returned.
But the life that Isis had fanned back into Osiris was not the life of the mortal world. He had crossed the threshold of death and could not fully return. He had been remade, yes, but into something new, something more. He did not rise and walk back into his sunlit kingdom. Instead, his spirit opened its eyes to a different realm, a realm of perfect, silent order, where the souls of the dead awaited judgment and rest. He had become the king of the afterlife, the lord of Duat. Imagine his kingdom now. It is not a place of darkness and sorrow like the Greek underworld. It is a realm of profound, tranquil justice. Picture Osiris seated upon his great throne in the Hall of Two Truths. He is no longer the earthly king, but a divine judge. His skin is the green of new life, of rebirth. He is wrapped in the white linen of a mummy, a symbol of his own death and resurrection. In his hands he holds the crook and the flail, the symbols of kingship and fertility. His gaze is not stern, but serene, wise, and infinitely patient. Before him, the souls of the dead are guided by the gentle, jackal-headed god Anubis. Here, in this silent hall, the heart of each soul is weighed upon the great golden scale. On one side of the scale, the heart, the vessel of all the deeds, thoughts, and intentions of a lifetime. On the other, a single white feather, the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic order. There is no argument here, no pleas. There is only the silent, unwavering judgment of the scale. If the heart is heavy with greed, with anger, with deceit, it will weigh more than the feather, and the soul will be cast into the darkness, to be devoured by the waiting beast, Amit, and cease to exist. But if the heart is light, if it is unburdened by evil, if it lived a life of truth and kindness, it will balance perfectly with the single, weightless feather. And for these souls, Osiris nods his serene approval. They have passed the test. They are granted passage into the fields of reeds, an eternal paradise, a perfect reflection of the fertile Nile valley they knew in life, a place of endless peace and quiet contentment. Osiris, through his own death and rebirth, did not just save himself. He created a path. He created a promise for all mortals, a promise that death was not the end, but a journey. A promise that a life lived in truth would lead to an eternity of peace. He became the symbol of resurrection, the hope that even after the deepest darkness there is a new dawn, that even after being scattered into pieces one can be made whole again. He is the silent king, ruling with perfect justice in a realm of perfect peace, the enduring symbol of life that conquers death.
And so, the story of Isis and Osiris finds its rest. Not an ending, but a transformation. A story of a love that reshaped the cosmos and a devotion that built a bridge to eternity. It is a reminder that even in the face of profound loss, there is the possibility of renewal. That even when things feel broken and scattered, there is a quiet strength that can piece them back together. And now, as Osiris rests on his eternal throne, and as Isis watches over the living world, it is your turn to find your own kingdom of rest, your own field of reeds. Let the story of their journey be your guide. Like the Nile, let your breath flow, steady and calm, in and out, a gentle, life-giving current. Like the search of Isis, let your mind release its frantic search for answers. Let go of the day's scattered pieces. There is nothing left to solve, nothing left to find. All is well. Like the scales of Anubis, feel your own heart grow light, lighter than a feather. Release the burdens you have been carrying. Let them drift away. They are not yours to hold tonight. You are now on the shores of your own sacred river, the river of sleep. Its waters are dark and calm and inviting. They promise not forgetfulness, but peace. Feel the gentle current begin to pull you away from the shore of wakefulness. Let it take you, drifting, floating, into a place of profound quiet, a place of deep and restorative and peaceful sleep. The journey is over. It is time to rest. Sleep now. Sleep.